It's been a while since I've reviewed something of the 8-bit variety. I think it's time I do something about that. I'll take that. Ah! Where did you come from? I'm you from the future! Seriously? Well, a few videos from now. Oh. I'm here to take care of some unfinished business and actually do a video on that... well, that game. So, you can go do something else. I've got this. Suit yourself. I've got some light reading to catch up on. Anyway, totally rad! This tubular title was published by Jellico. You know, the people who brought you City Connection, the Bases Loaded series, and Robo Warrior, a game I really like, among others. Going against the spirit of the name, according to Nintendo Age, it was developed by a company with the acronym SAD, who apparently published most of Jellico's releases for the NES. So, totally rad is totally sad? Makes you think, doesn't it? Totally Rad originally came out on the Famicom as Magic John in September 1990. It involved the title hero, along with his girlfriend Yu, undertaking an apprenticeship with the magician Pong. The game was released in America on March 1991, and while the gameplay and story remain mostly the same, a new special ingredient was added to the translation. John became Jake, who looks quite a bit like Rufio from Hook, and Yu became Allison, and the look of the characters was changed from anime-style kids to 90s California teenagers. Magic John became Totally Rad, and to further emphasize the title, Jellico slathered on late 80s, early 90s surfer lingo in the cutscenes. The dialogue screams Bill and Ted, and if you replace time travel with magic, this could be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. According to the Rad Project, lines as simple as, "You bet," from the original becomes, "Yup, he thinks I have gnarly potential." And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Why Jellico felt the need to utilize jargon that was starting to get old and stale by the time of the game's release, I don't know. But it certainly makes Totally Rad stick out from other platformers released for the NES. Jake's magic training involves running. A lot of running. Apparently cardio is the key to becoming powerful in the dark arts. Who knew? With that established, it's time for the first level, and one of, if not my favorite, cutscenes from the entire game. Jake has been attacked by surprise! The original Japanese sounds like it could have been ripped straight from a Dragon Ball Z title card, but this is remarkable. You better not throw Jake a birthday party he doesn't know about. That dude's a serious heart attack risk. Like I mentioned before, from what I've seen, the gameplay style is pretty much the same between each title. Totally Rad is kind of like Mega Man meets the Creon Conquest. Mega Man, in that you have a powered-up shot akin to the Mega Buster, and a number of selectable attacks which affect certain enemies more than others. Creon Conquest in the inclusion of the magic element and the entire spell inventory from the beginning. The types of spells revolve around the Earth's elements, with stone, wind, water, and fire attacks, as well as the ability to morph into the form of an eagle, lion, and fish. Every spell uses up some of the finite amount from the magic bar, and as far as I've seen, there is no way to refill the bar after it has been spent, so it's best to conserve the use of Jake's magic. Which, to be honest, is fine, because the elemental spells don't really seem all that more powerful than the charged up regular attack, and it can be used in a crouching position too. Point 1 Jake. Mega Man? Well, 10 million or so, but let Jake have this. It's all he's got, besides... The story basically involves this intelligent but incredibly ugly underground race of people and the evil Idoji. And what do you know? Allison gets kidnapped and you have to rescue her.
I bet you didn't see that one coming, did ya?
Once she's rescued, you're informed that her father, the gnarliest professor on the coast, was also taken by these creatures so that they could learn more about humans and the surface world. On top of this, Allison's decided that she wants to dabble in the mystical arts as well. But to less than stellar results. That's really all there is to the story. Jake gets extra tips from Pong along the way, and eventually the student surpasses the master.
We do find out a shocker about old Zebediah's past near the end of the game, but that's about as deep as the script goes. Totally Rad is not a novel, just a silly early 90s 8-bit video game. With a story having such memorable quotes as, "Jake, they're like stealing me or something." Were you really expecting Shakespearean-style prose? Before digging into this game for the review, I'd heard really negative things about it. I mean really negative. After experiencing it for myself, I can understand the critics' viewpoint, but I wouldn't call Totally Rad awful. Far from it.
The implementation of the magic system, while not a unique idea, is very clever, and it's kind of fun seeing what spell does what. The controls are responsive, and there really aren't any issues with missing tough jumps. Jake does lose health quickly though, so there are spells to replenish the bar completely, which uses more magic, or by only a few points. The problem is that this is the only means of replenishing Jake's health, meaning there are no life-saving health power-ups to pull you out of the metaphorical fire when you run out of magic.
This can make boss fights especially intense, but what's a side-scrolling platformer without a little challenge? Speaking of bosses, I tried to beat this game, like I do for all the games I cover. While Totally Rad is nothing compared to Ninja Gaiden or a number of other platformers, it still gets pretty difficult, especially since there are limited continues. I tried 2 times, the first getting to level 3. On the second attempt, I got to level 5, the final level, before dying at a mini-boss. I found out later that this is the last enemy before the final boss, so I gave it another try. And I did beat that little bastard, but with no magic left for the final boss. And I got slaughtered. As a result, I did what most people would do. I cheated.
I found out there was a code that can be entered on the title screen that brings up a debug menu, one of the options being level select, and specifically, to go right to the final boss fight. The final boss is a lot easier than the guy who preceded him, so it only took me 1 attempt with a full magic bar to bring him down. Well, at least the game does have an ending, and I was quite surprised by the length of it. I clocked it. It's over 3 minutes long. Basically, Idoji was using mind control, or some other means of manipulation, on the underground dwellers. So once he was vanquished, they stopped fighting and returned to their dwellings below. Allison is reunited with her father, though she's still utterly hopeless as a magician. There's a message from Zebediah, and Jake and Allison decide to shred on the half-pipe. All's excellent that ends excellent. That's deep, man. Really deep.
Totally Rad. Where do I even begin? Despite how often it is used, excellent is not the first word that comes to mind when thinking about this game. In fact, I'm not sure if I can sum up this game in one word. I do know that bad is not one of the descriptors that apply. While it does not break any new ground when it comes to side-scrolling innovation, it does what it set out to do competently. And unlike other platformers, you have to think about your plan of attack and conserve magic energy in order to make it far. The dialogue may be stupid, but the playstyle is a bit more sophisticated. The translated story may be convoluted and again, stupid, but it's the right kind of stupid. So stupid that it's almost genius in its stupidity, if that makes any sense. Overall, I like Totally Rad, and it's definitely worth playing at least once. It's not a great game for the NES. It's not even the best release from Jaleco for the console. But those cutscenes with gnarlies and righteous and more dudes and likes than you could shake a stick at, all those catchphrases from the extreme 90s, those are Totally Rad's X Factor. They elevate the game from being a decent side-scroller set apart from the cookie-cutter mold to being worthy of discussion among fans of old-school gaming, becoming a title well deserving of being branded infamous. Totally Rad may not exactly live up to the name, but is bound to leave a lasting impression that's hard to forget.